Another day, another Surface Duo 2 preview powered by Best Buy demo units. We have a video here that was tweeted at me actually earlier this morning. Let me pull up the person that tweeted it at me so I can give them credit for sending it my way. Green County Drums on Twitter. Thank you for sending this video my way. And this video is from a YouTube channel called Tech Autos. At moment of recording, this video has only got about 137 views, so let's get that way up in the air. And what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to kind of talk about a couple of things they saw in this video as they went into a Best Buy and they spent 11 and a half minutes on this video doing a preview of Surface Duo 2. Now, I do think it's a very good video. It is very, very detailed. They do a lot of good work here in terms of just overall showing the hardware, comparing it to the original Surface Duo side-by-sides and things like that. There's a lot of really good stuff here in this video, and I'm not going to show you like 90% of it because that would defeat the purpose of their video existing. It would just be stealing their content at that point. So I'm just going to skip ahead to a particular thing here because they talk about the cameras here, and they actually show some sample pictures. Surface Duo versus Surface Duo 2 and some video. And that's kind of an area that I want to dig into. So that's what we're going to talk about here in this video. And I'm going to link to their full video in the description and in the comments down below. So please do go there and give this video a full watch to see all of the stuff that is in this video. So consider this like a teaser maybe for their video. So this is the portion here in question. So let's go a little bit bigger here and we can kind of see what we're dealing with here. So I wish I had the raw images, which I don't have the raw images. So we can't really dig in super duper duper deep, but we can do a little bit here. So on the left, we have Surface Duo. On the right, we have Surface Duo 2. Now in this video, this person said that they were a bit disappointed because they didn't think the difference was all that big. But let's look at what differences there are there in reality. So we're talking about an 11 megapixel sensor here on the Surface Duo and a 12 megapixel sensor here on Surface Duo 2. So when we're talking about detail, right, things like that, there's not going to be a colossal difference because the resolution of the image is not different. Now, granted, the sensor size is bigger on Duo 2, so that should help with detail a bit. But the first thing I think you're going to notice here is the color profile. So on the original Surface Duo, all the colors were pretty muted. They were pretty toned down, kind of the opposite of what Samsung became known for, which is essentially boosting their saturations through the roof. Now, they don't mention here which is more accurate, right? Because if you look at the orange here and the orange here, those are two radically different colors. Now, you look at the colors here on this ZAGG poster and the colors there. Which one is more accurate? The red here, the red there. Which one is more accurate? Let's look at the carpet. The carpet here has no detail at all. Plenty of detail here and a totally different color. So the first thing there that you kind of need to think about is this is processing. This is probably less to do with better hardware and more to do with the actual software processing. Now, I talked about this in my camera preview for Surface Duo. I talked about how they're using a third-party company that makes software processing for photography on smartphones. Ever since like the Pixel made this a big deal, you snap a picture and then an algorithm is used to touch up that image in a particular way. And then once it's done processing, there is your output, and it looks radically different than what it looked like in the viewfinder. With Surface Duo, there was almost no processing happening at all. On Surface Duo 2, there appears to be substantial processing going on. This is a good thing. Now, personally, I do think that the Surface Duo 2 has the far better looking image here. It's much punchier. It has much better contrast. The colors look more vibrant. Now, you can say, oh, I don't want my colors to be oversaturated. Well, we don't know if they're oversaturated because we don't know what this room looked like in person. But I will tell you that I think just on the face of it, that the Duo 2 picture does look better to me. Let's roll forward because he does zoom in here in a moment. So as we zoom in here a bit further, this is where you're going to kind of start seeing that the detail is better on Duo 2, but it's not wildly better, right? So look at the text here. Looks like just lines. You can almost make out what that says there. Look at the text there and the text there. Same thing. It is definitely a clearer image on Surface Duo 2. Now, was it radically clearer? Is it like massively better? No, it's not. But again, we're talking about a bigger sensor and it's ever so slightly a larger resolution image. So this was never going to be just this world-changing difference. but it does definitely look better to me. And if you look up here into the sort of darker areas there and there, I think that's going to be a bigger telltale. Look at the detail there. Look at the detail there. So, you know, we're talking about an image and a couple of images that were taken inside of a Best Buy with very bright lights. This is the best possible case scenario for the original Surface Duo, and it's doing okay in this scenario. It looks okay. But when we get into, you know, normal lighting situations where you're not, you know, covered with fluorescent lights, the brightest buildings you can possibly be in, how is it going to perform at that point? That's going to be the question. And I think that, like I said, if you do try and look at these areas, you can see a difference there. Look how much more bright that is than that is. So there is improvement here for sure. And then looking here, we've zoomed in a lot here. So this is going to look bad on pretty much any phone from how far they've zoomed in. Let's go back to the original image here and realize that we're punching in from, I guess, from this distance. We've punched in all the way from here to here. That's a really long way to ask anybody to be able to zoom in. And look, they both look bad, but they're both going to look bad when you zoom in that far. That's a lot to ask. Now, strangely enough here, we don't get an ultra wide sample and we didn't get a telephoto sample, because that's another thing here. We're talking about zooming way in on these things. Well, if we had to use the telephoto lens, that would look a lot better on Surface Duo 2. But as far as I'm aware, they just zoomed in on the standard sensor. I would have loved to have seen the ultra wide and the telephoto used. I'm not sure they didn't do that, but they didn't. Let's move on, because now they do video. So this is a video taken by the original Surface Duo. I mean, look, it looks washed out, but other than that, I've always thought Duo's video was okay. It's nothing incredible. It does look washed out, and the colors are really bland. But I mean, overall, I think it was passable. It was serviceable. Then on Surface Duo 2, I mean, obviously the colors are much more saturated. For some reason, we're recording this in portrait orientation instead of landscape, so it's kind of hard to get a one-to-one comparison here. And again, we're in the brightest buildings imaginable. This is best case scenario for both of them. I think that they both look fine. Neither one of these are going to, like, you know, take out the iPhone in terms of video performance, but again, I think it looks pretty serviceable. Now here he actually complains a little bit about portrait mode. So he's complaining that in portrait mode, you've got some blurring here, but it's in focus here. And he was complaining that portrait mode didn't properly blur what he expected it to blur. I don't want to be too critical here of what they're doing, but I don't really see what they're getting at here. Because if I took any phone with portrait mode and took a picture of my finger pointed at a ground with no real features and no physical objects in front of me, I'm going to get a similar confused portrait mode. It's not going to know what's going on. Most portrait modes look for a face and then base things off of that. And again, there's no focal point here. There's nothing that it's metered on that portrait mode would reasonably work well on. Test portrait mode on a person or on an object that is in the foreground that has a focal point, and you're probably going to get a much better performance. This is a little weird to me. I'm not really sure why they're being critical of this. This seems like, I don't know what phone would take this particular picture and make it look good. But yeah, there you go. There is the camera portion of their video. And like I said, they dig into so much more than that. They've done a great job here being really detailed in about 11.5 minutes. So again, please do click on the link in the description and in the comments and go watch their video. They've only got 144 subs, 137 views while I am watching this video. So go over there, give them a like, maybe give them a sub if you did enjoy the video, and give them a thanks for making some good content. Hopefully, we are only, you know, a few short days away from me having Surface Duo 2 in my hands, being able to just show you these things in person and give you my 2 cents worth in that regard. So do stay tuned for all that. Of course, there will be a live stream of my unboxing on the day of launch. There will be a camera review. There'll be a full review. There will be comparisons to Surface Duo. There will be comparisons to the Z Fold, all sorts of things like that. So do stay tuned for all of that. And until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.